Hey everyone, I'm Cecil Laird.
Fuego here.
This is your Horror Show News Editorial Edition, found here every single Friday on the Horror Show channel. If you guys want to watch us deliver the news stories in proper nightly news style, head over to youtube.com/thekingsofhorror. But right here, we get a little looser.
Yeah, we do.
Relax a little bit. We put the stories right here, and we talk about what we think about them. So, Fuego, what do you think about the Altered Beast adaptation? We don't know whether it's TV or movie yet.
We fought over this story, so that tells you everything about my excitement level. This was what I wanted to cover, but I seceded it to our showrunner here. I love this game. Unlike, the gent who's a little older than me, he got to play it in the arcades, but I played this. I still remember discovering it on the Sega Genesis at a friend's house. I didn't even have a Genesis at the time, and I was like, what is this? What awesomeness am I seeing? I had a regular NES at the time, so the graphics were upscaled. There weren't even really a lot of scary games on the original NES in its earlier years, and so it looked cool. I love the transformation concept, and dude, if they do it well, I think that this could be a badass property and maybe even a franchise.
Well, yeah, and that's the thing. It's not just, it's like were animals. It's not just werewolves.
Yeah.
Like there was a were dragon, and I think there was a were bird creature too,
There
or
was
something
a few
like
others.
that. Yeah.
Yeah, I saw the photo on some of the stories that were floating around, and I was like, I didn't remember there were that many characters.
Yeah, I didn't either. But, nonetheless, I'm excited to see what they can do with it for sure.
Yeah, indeed. And even Streets of Rage, it's not a scary property, but just seeing that come to life. I even heard murmurings about another House of the Dead. Those movies were really bad.
Those were terrible, but I think this is going to be more of a straight translation. Or, God, you know what? I don't even know the lore that much to know whether Yui Bull's movies were a straight translation or not. But nonetheless, I'm excited to erase those from my memory for a new one. But I was actually interested to see that they're doing, or at least one of the two companies is doing Golden Axe.
I wanted to mention that too.
As well
Once
as
again, beat me to
Shinobi.
it.
Yeah, I mean, Golden Axe was one of my absolute favorite side-scrolling, more so than even like Final Fight or any of those.
I love those team hack and slash, mans, when you can have like 2 to 4 characters.
Simpsons was a classic one.
Oh yeah, X-Men. I mean, the list goes on. Those are some of my best memories as a kid in the arcade.
For sure.
Yeah. So in my first story, as far as good memories go, I actually had good memories of that Mummy franchise, at least the first 2 that Brendan Fraser did. It's really funny because we did a trailer reaction here on this channel for the film, and the more I thought about it afterwards, the more I wasn't that excited about this new retelling of the Mummy, at least from the trailer.
It just looks like a blending of Edge of Tomorrow and the Mummy. Like it just is big time act. They said it wasn't going to be as action prone as the Brendan Fraser ones were, but the trailer is extraordinarily action packed. So I don't know exactly what's going to happen, but I am excited that it's coming because I like, I'll watch any Tom Cruise movie unless it's a drama, then I avoid them sometimes. But this one looks like it's going to be a lot of fun. The Russell Crowe aspect, it's funny, it didn't actually click until you mentioned it during the news proper. You had mentioned a bunch, and I knew that Russell Crowe played Dr. Jekyll, but it didn't occur to me that he was going to get his own movie, too, as Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. I was like, that is a little cooler than I thought it was. So.
Yeah, and then Johnny Depp's going to be the Invisible Man. They're still trying to get Angelina Jolie to be Bride of Frankenstein. No word on who would play Frankenstein, because that's obviously got to precede that one, but I thought
The Rock.
Yeah, maybe. But Sofia Boutella, she was one of the best parts of Star Trek Beyond. I know you haven't quite seen it yet, but her painted, crazy character, I thought even...
The 4 eyes.
Yeah, she looks good in this too with the whole, eyeball splitting thing, but she was one of the best parts. I thought she did better, work in paint than Idris Elba did in that Star Trek Beyond film. So the fact that she's going to be the new antagonist, I think it's cool, even if it looks to me like a Tom Cruise action movie the more I think about it. So, what are you going to do?
And the female mummy is a cool angle to go with. And I'm happy that Dracula Untold is being written off. As much as I like Luke Evans, that was terrible.
But I love Luke Evans, but the script was...
It was god-awful. It would have been a bummer to try and have to tie that in. And now we can get a much cooler Dracula story to tie in, hopefully.
I was in an advanced screening of Dracula Untold and was just so underwhelmed, so,
Bum deal. Indeed. Well, that brings us to our next story, which was my talking about Lynn Shaye and her words about Insidious Chapter 4.
Yeah.
Which basically says that they're going to pick up right where Insidious Chapter 3 left off, which technically is a prequel to Chapter 1 and 2. So it's the order of operations will go 3, 4, 1, 2.
Yeah, because she died at the end of 2, right?
She died at the end of, she died at the end of 1, actually.
Really?
She was a ghost in all of 2, helping out. And then,
shows how well I remember.
Yeah, and then, and so this one's going to be still in her early days, and she's got some guy or some entity haunting her that she's trying to track down. But the nice thing is, we get the return of Specs and Tucker.
I love those guys.
The amateur Ghostbusters that are just the epitome of all the ghost finders in all of these kinds of movies, and they're great. They're hilarious.
They're humorous too.
Yeah, exactly.
They balance things really well.
Yeah, one of them, the bearded one, I'm not sure which is which. Probably not Specs. He's probably Tucker, because I'm guessing Specs is the one with glasses.
Now I'm thinking Tucker Dale.
Different
but
he was in an Australian, because he's an Australian actor.
His accent comes out just a wee bit.
Yeah. He did a really gory one that now I'm spacing, but we actually reviewed it on the channel. So check that out, or it might be one of the season 3 ones we just haven't gotten
was it
to
the
yet.
it was the one
Bloody Acres.
Yeah, 100 Bloody Acres.
100 Bloody Acres.
Yes, he was in that.
He's in that.
Yeah, that was a funny movie. I really liked it.
So it makes sense that they cast him in comedic weird roles.
Yeah, no, I'm all for it.
So you're excited about this too, even though you haven't seen them all.
Well, I saw the first 2, and I've seen bits and pieces. I actually, when we were filming the news proper at the studio a few weeks ago, I caught the end of the 3rd one where they were getting in the van, and so, I at least realized that they survived enough and probably sowed the seeds for a 4th one, which gonna follow right where that one left off, I guess. So, as far as more mixing the comedic and the horrific, who does it better than James Gunn? Slither. What else? Even in a film like Super, which was weird as
that
all
was
hell,
such a great movie,
with the god cock or whatever it was. I mean, sorry if that's offensive, but it was just so weird. I cannot wait for Belko.
God chicken, why would that be offensive?
Yeah, exactly. It's a gallo, as I would say, in Espanol. But yeah, so we got trailers for both Guardians 2 and for Belko. And the only reason I'm allowed to mention Guardians 2 here is because Daily Dead and some of the others that we consult were like, hey, check out this trailer. So we loved it. You can see a review on my channel in Fuegotainment for that this gentleman and our co-host Marsha were happy enough to take part of. But Belko, it's basically Office Space meets Battle Royale. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, it's Severance meets The Office. It's a lot of different things, but it's also a little bit of the Raid Redemption, because it's a giant building and it's everything combined to one big building.
Yeah, really rad cast.
Yeah, and I'm excited as hell for this one. It sort of blew the doors off when we watched it. I was like, wow, what a great idea, and see how nuts people can get when they're pushed to the edge,
That, and I don't want to spoil anything, but there's something about chips in people's heads and potentially exploding.
So yeah, we did a reaction to that on the channel as well, so make sure you check that out. But that's going to bring us to my 3rd story, which is all about a bunch of horror video game trailers that dropped this past week, which we also did some trailer reactions to. There was The Last of Us 2, which was my absolute favorite. Yeah. There was Dead Rising 4, Resident Evil 7.
There was good too. Also the VR aspect.
Yeah, the VR aspect is going to be really interesting. There's also one for Prey, which is, I don't think you saw any footage of that, but it's a sci-fi space alien shooter. Like, there's massive aliens and it looks really awesome.
Is it kind of Dead Space or
a little bit closer to Dead Space than anything else, but maybe not quite as dark.
Okay.
And it looks like you actually got out into space in the game. Like, you can, sort of gravity-like. Yeah. You can get out there and move around. But yeah, that Last of Us 2 was definitely tops for me. Another one that was interesting was Death Stranding.
Yeah. That kind of rose from the ashes of another project, right?
Yeah, exactly. It's Hideo Kojima and Guillermo del Toro working together, along with Norman Reedus, and these 3 people were working on the last iteration of Silent Hills. They produced PT together, and then Sega pulled the plug because of Konami's issues with Kojima. So it's a whole complex, convoluted thing. But
it's so bad that dude Guillermo was tweeting F Konami on Twitter, and it looks like there's a lot of bad blood. It's nastiness.
But it looks like an interesting game nonetheless. What about you?
And Mads Mikkelsen.
Yeah, Mads Mikkelsen.
Yeah.
Man, that motion capture stuff is crazy.
It is so photorealistic. It blows my mind how much graphics have come since those days of the NES that I mentioned at the very beginning of this program, and even Altered Beast. So the advancements are breathtaking, and I cannot wait to... Hey, maybe I will actually try to dedicate some time to playing a game, which I have so little for at this point. But as far as something I have made a lot of time for in the last year, from binging through 6 seasons of the show for our Fangoria FearCon panel that you can actually check out here on the channel as well, where we did a full retrospective of the first 6 seasons. Season 7 has limped to, like, those walkers we see that are just crawling along. The ratings have dropped from over 17 million to in the last 2 episodes.
You're overblowing it a little bit. Dude, crawling along with 11 million people is not crawling. It's still one of the top
10.5 million to be
still
accurate.
One of the top rated shows, if not the top rated show on TV.
But by the standards and the pedigree that they have set forth, the biggest number to mention is that they haven't seen numbers this low since season 3. So to have that big of a drop, that big of a spike... It had to happen
sometime, though. It had to happen sometime.
Do you think the storytelling manner, the way they approach episodes, has something to do with it?
I think this season they splintered everyone off the way they did a couple seasons back, but it's not been anywhere near as interesting. And they've just chosen to focus on weird things. Like the first 2 episodes, I thought were really strong with Negan and then Ezekiel, but then... Beyond that, it's just been a slog. And why? There's so many. Almost every episode is longer than a normal episode should be, including an hour and 10-minute long episode all about a character that no one cares about.
Yeah, I think most of the episodes have clocked in at over an hour time, and we have another 90-minute one coming this weekend. And you guys can actually keep an eye out here because we're doing another one of our big group reactions where Marsha's probably going to be bloodthirsty with Lucille and wanting to see some mayhem, but. I don't think it's been that bad of a season, it's just been, it shows the splintered storytelling, although I thought they did do it better at the end of season 4 and at the beginning of season 5 with the Terminus stuff and all that. I guess I cared more about those characters maybe than I do some of the new ones they focused on, so
yeah, me too.
Perhaps that has something to do with it, but yeah, I mean, AMC, once again, we're not going to dig a grave over this, but they're probably pissed to see these kind of numbers, and the whole season's done filming already, so it's not like there would be any course correction until next year. So, I don't know, man. I don't know. Red team go.
Maybe the second half will be better. But yeah, I think that's going to do it for our opinions on this week's horror news stories.
Yeah.
Thanks very much for watching. Again, if you want to watch us deliver the stories in proper, go to youtube.com/thekingsoфhorror. Thank you very much for following us back over here or just watching that. We always come back and do our opinions afterward. So, thanks again. And do us a favor if you wouldn't mind. Like, share, and subscribe to our channel. We'd really appreciate it. And also visit our new store. The link is in the description box right down below here, where you can go and get shirts of our horror show design, our Coexist design, plus a bunch of different independent horror artists, horror mashup designs, all available on that site right there. So check it out. It's this Christmas season, you guys, the holiday season. Get a gift for someone, the gift of horror.
Exactly right. We appreciate it very much because it helps us continue along with doing 2 episodes a day for you guys. So, I extend the grande gracias. I have been Jame and Fuego.
I'm Cecil Laird, and remember, stay scared.